Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Magicshine Seemee 50 mag bike headlight and taillight. Magicshine Seemee lineup of lights offer everything from budget 20 lumen lights to absurd 300 lumen taillights. The new Magicshine Seemee 50 mag is the latest addition to the Seemee lineup and combines bright output with magnets. Packaging wise, you can do very simple. You have the black and orange color scheme that Magicshine is known for. And there's a nice glossy representation of the light. Basic specs are printed on here, as well as the output and run times. I'll go ahead and open this up. We'll go over the specs. Retail price on this is $29.99, so pretty affordable. You have 50 lumen of output, and this can be both a headlight or a taillight, depending on which mode you're in. You have their FTR LightSync Control, which means you can actually pair this taillight with other Magicshine headlights and have a single button click to turn them on or off. You also have magnetic mounting, which makes this compatible with the Lumos helmets. So you can see this thing has magnets built into it. So it actually attaches magnetically to the base as well as these little clips. And you have magnets in the light itself, so you can attach this directly to the back of your Lumos helmet. You also have USB Type-C charging, so very easy to recharge. And you also, again, have the white or the red mode, so you can use a headlight or taillight. As far as what comes with it, see, very simple packaging. You just have the little cardboard holder, the instruction manual wedged in here. You have the light itself, the little holder, a seat post mount or handlebar mount, depending on which orientation you put it on. The saddle mount, which is something we've seen with the other Seemee lights, just goes on your rails. It has the miniaturized Garmin mount. 2 zip ties, if you want to find somewhere different to mount this. You can just run the zip ties directly through this base. Those little cutouts. USB Type-C charging cable, and then that's about it. Now let's take a look at the weight of the light. So the light by itself is 30 grams. The base adds an additional 8 grams. And then if you want to use the seat post mount or handlebar mount, that would be 13, while the saddle mount is only 6. Visually, the Seemee 50 has a square design with a large, clear lens. It's very similar to an Altezza-style car light. When it's off, you don't know whether it's red or white, as everything's white on the inside, and you don't know the color until it's actually turned on. So you can see if I turn it on, it's either red or white, and that's one of the cool features of this. You have these double rings of LEDs, so you can either use this as a headlight or taillight with the same single light. And what's kind of cool about this is it's not a color change in one. It's actually just 2 separate rows, so you can see there's an inner ring and an outer ring with the individual colors. The light is constructed mostly plastic, so you can see a plastic base and a big raised lens. And then branding is just limited Magicshine on the backside, which you would never see. If you're familiar with the Lumos Firefly lights or have seen our review, you'll notice these are very similar. It's not a coincidence. Magicshine actually worked with Lumos to develop the Firefly. So these are a more affordable version that removes some of the features of the Firefly, but makes it a little bit easier to use. The big difference is you don't have a centered focus LED. The mounting is simplified with the magnets on all corners as the buttons on the front instead of the side. And then you have a USB Type-C port rather than a magnetic charging cable, which can be a little bit annoying as you have to carry the cable around. The nice thing about the updated mount too is you can install this in any direction. So I can do it in whatever orientation I want rather than having certain orientations. As far as the mount, you can see it's kind of a cool design. So it's a 3-piece design. So you have the light itself, which has magnets in it. This can be directly attached to a Lumos helmet. So it's a very nice way to install a helmet light. No additional parts. You just attach it directly to the helmet if you have a compatible one. You have the holder, and this has the matching magnets. So you can see how they attract each other. And then it also has a Garmin base on here. So this is a miniaturized Garmin base we've seen with all the Magicshine lights. And then this base attaches to either a seat post mount, or you can put this on your handlebar with a simple rubber hook. It's a rubber strap that goes onto the hook. And then you can see standard Garmin quarter turn, but it's just a little bit smaller. And they also include the saddle mount, which we've seen with the other lights. So this goes on your saddle rail and directly attaches. So if you're using this in this mode, so with just the attachments and not directly attaching it to your helmet, you can see it's a little bit more complicated. If you want to take it off the bike, the easiest way is just to rotate it off. Otherwise, you can remove it from the base by pulling down. So there's actually physical hooks holding the light on. You can't just pull it off. So you actually have to pull down on this, on either one of them. And then you can see they have matching little tabs there. So those go into the body and the groove. So you have to pull that away to release it. So very secure, definitely won't fall off. You're not just relying on the magnet. So kind of cool design. Whether it adds a lot of value, if you're not using the Lumos helmet, I think it's more debatable. But it is a cool feature. And it's a magnet, which is always fun. As far as the LED output, this is a 50 lumen headlight or taillight. And again, it uses 2 rings of cob LED. So nice uniform glow. This is a B-scene style light, not a Seemee style light. So you won't see the road with this. You can see it's just a glow. It doesn't really illuminate the road. Instead, it just ensures you're visible. You can see there's 2 rings of cob LEDs. So if I double click, I have the white outer ring. I double click again, I have the red inner ring. So it's kind of interesting. Rather than buying 2 different lights, you just buy the same one. And if you want a headlight, you can use it. If you want a taillight, you just switch the mode. So pretty simple. There's also some nice features in the lens here. You can see these little grooves. They almost have a frosted effect. So when you look at the side, you can see they kind of have a glow. So you're visible from nearly any angle. So nice side visibility, which is always important when you're riding. And again, you don't have a focused LED. So from longer distances, you're not really going to be visible, but from closer distances and urban riding, this is a really cool option. As far as the user interface, very simple, 1-button interface. Just like the other Magicshine lights, you have a battery status indicator. It can be red, green, or flashing red to indicate the state. So you get a 3-level state, you can always check it. Holding it turns the light on and off. Then a single press cycles through the 5 options. Double tapping switches between headlight and taillight modes. So it goes to the outer ring to the corresponding same mode that you were previously in. So very simple. And again, you can really seamlessly switch between them. The other cool feature about the Magicshine Seemee 50 is that it uses the LightSync technology. So this can actually be paired with the remote from a compatible Magicshine headlight. So here we have the Alti 1200U. So with this, you can pair it to both of them. And once you paired them, I can just do a long hold to turn both lights on at the same time. It's a very cool design, very similar to the Trek Commuter Pro and Topeak product, and similar to the Lumos Firefly, which has an auto on and off. That one syncs all the buttons together, so they all turn on together. But this one, you use a remote, and I can also turn them all off together. So very seamless. So if you have the setup, you can use the headlight and taillight together, jump on your bike, just hold the wireless remote, and you're ready to ride. So really cool feature. Now let's take a look at the output modes of the light. Here we have the taillight. So you have a low 6 lumen mode. Then you have a high 15 lumen mode for 5-hour runtime. Then you have a couple flash options. The night flash ramps up and down from 1 to 15 lumen. And then daytime flash gives you the full output from 0 to 50. And great for daytime visibility. The longest runtime comes from Eco Flash with 26.5-hour runtime. You can also run this as a headlight. So there's a white mode with the same lumen amount for low high. Just the runtimes are a little bit different. Again, nighttime flash is a nice pulsing. And then you have the daytime flash, which gives you 18.5-hour runtime in the headlight mode. And finally, eco mode, which gives you the full 28.5-hour runtime. Here you can see a nice 360 view of the headlight and taillight configuration. These are pretty compact, great for a commuter bike. They won't really light up the road, but you can see here, they look good, and especially with the saddle mount, they're nice and small and give you great side visibility, so you're visible from just about any angle. So a pretty convenient little light set, but again, they don't light up the road. At 50 lumens, you definitely want a brighter headlight. Here you can see the taillight in the daytime flash mode. And it's good visibility, but without the focused LEDs, you're not going to have long distance visibility. So I'd highly recommend the Seemee 150, 100, or other variations if you want longer distance visibility. But as it is, it's pretty clean light, and if you have a Lumos helmet, you can just take it directly off the mount and attach it to it. So that is a nice convenience feature, but otherwise the magnetic mounting doesn't seem to really add that much value. So it would have been nice if it was simpler, but it's nice to have an alternative to Lumos Firefly. Here we have the IGP Sport TL30. You can see pretty similar form factor. This one has a hook and magnetic charging rather than this more complicated magnetic setup. It also has a red only design, so you can't switch the colors like you can with the Seemee. But the cool thing about the TL is that you have a much brighter light because you have that center focused LED. So you can see if I cover that up, they're very similar. You have a nice uniform glow. But if I uncover that, that's what gives you that visibility there, rather than just having an outer glow. So if you really want to be seen from further distances, you'll want a different light than this, or a different Magicshine Seemee taillight. But otherwise, very cool design. And you can see this one uses a standard charging port rather than the magnetic one, which is a nice slimmer design, but requires a special cable. We also have the Shanren Raz Pro, which is a pretty cool light, similar round profile. And rather than having two sets of LEDs, which is pretty inefficient, you're paying for pretty much both setups in one. This one actually uses RGB, and if you do a rotation like that, you can see it changes the color. It actually does the full color spectrum, which is really cool. So you can actually do any color here, which is not that useful because you don't really need green light, but it's cool to customize the output. And they don't use separate rings. Instead, you really get a single RGB setup. We also have the Nog Traffic. So this uses a set of cob LEDs, but to enhance that, you can see you have a bigger display, so more visibility, and then really cool output patterns, while the Seemee 50 just has your standard all on or all off. So it's cool to see more unique designs. That would have been nice to see here. If you really want to be seen from further distances, I'd recommend stuff like the Bontrager Flare. It's a little bit different form factor. Single LED that's highly focused with little transparent windows on the side, and a standard tab design that takes advantage of a lot of Trek's mounts. So a lot longer distance visibility, but not quite as sleek, and you don't have the magnets. We also have most of the Magicshine lineup here. So this is all the Seemee lights. We have the 50. So this uses a really cool optical lens, so you can see it actually reflects off the base, and that's what gives this really cool effect. It uses a nice distribution of LEDs, but obviously just the taillight only. We also have the Seemee 150. So this comes in two variations, again, separate models rather than integrated. Headlight or taillight. They cost more, but you can see they both have that highly focused LED, which gives you much longer distance visibility. And this one could almost actually be used to light up the road, while something like this with only 50 lumens is not something I'd recommend as a headlight, more of a be-seen style light. Now, if you're really looking for a bright taillight, that's where the Seemee lineup shines. We have the various ones, the 200 and the 300 lumen one. Both of them have this downward facing LED, which is really cool. So this one, when it's on, would actually illuminate underneath. So it has a little downward facing LED, so pretty unique, but again, has a focus LED and a ring. They cost more, they're a lot brighter, and you can see non-magnetic design. They have the hook directly built in, rather than the multi-piece design. We don't have a Lumos Firefly on hand to actually compare that with the Seemee 50, but if you look at a previous review, you can see almost identical light, except for the center LED. That one's missing here, and they've really simplified things, so you can connect this from any direction, while the Firefly had a certain orientation because the power button was on the side, and they've used the locking mechanism rather than making it optional. So here you have the magnet. You can't just pull it off. You really have to push down on at least one of the hooks to release it. So definitely a cool light and a lot more affordable than the Firefly variation. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Magicshine Seemee 50 Mag. What we like about it is you have a clever lens design. The little grooves in there really reflect the light and give you great side visibility. You also have a nice magnetic mount that works in any direction, so you don't have to worry about the orientation. Also, you have dual functionality with either the red taillight mode or the white headlight mode. The main negatives with this light is the fact you have no focused LEDs, so you don't have great long distance visibility. Also, the magnetic mounting adds complexity as you have a 3-piece mount instead of a 2-piece, so if you're not using this with a Lumos helmet, you don't have a lot of benefit. Also, Magicshine does not include a flat handlebar mount, which means it ends up being a little bit angled as you have to use a seatpost mount on your handlebar. Taking everything into account, we'd give the light an 8.7 out of 10. It's a nice budget magnetic bike light. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.